This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for Monday, August the 8th today. And holy smokes, what a weekend, right? Quinte region looked fantastic. Traffic was a little iffy on the 401, of course, but once we got here, it was fun weekend from Rib Fest and all going on in the county. Hope you enjoyed it. Charity kicks off her 2 weeks vacation today. And on the podcast, if you're kicking off yours or if you've done it already, how we are enjoying our vacation 2022. Poll out this morning says of 100 workers, 20% of us bring our work with us on, quote, summer vacation. And I don't mean like just checking out, I mean like flat out. So whatever you do in the office or at home, you now go on vacation and you just keep doing it for 8 hours. And you call that vacation. Of the 80 that remain that aren't in that slot, 20 of those will check into the office every day. So 40 out of 100 people who claim they're on vacation do work while they work or check in with the office all the time so they don't lose touch. 35 of the remaining 60 check their voice or email constantly throughout the day. So there's no actual checking in, but they are checking that. And of the remaining, what are we left with? Like 20 people? Half of them will check voicemail, which leaves about 10 people who go on vacation and literally go on vacation and don't actually check in at all with the people or the work or take their work with them. 10 out of 100 of us will take what is legitimately known as a vacation. And what is the downfall of that? Well, that leads to something we talked about on the morning show today, and that is the top 10 jobs of burnout. These are the professions which, from the beginning of time, have high turnover. There's nothing new on that. But you throw in, the pandemic, many of them are frontline workers, and the way the world is today, and it's become a more dire situation because they're getting out sooner. Fewer people want to get in. What are we going to do? How do we replace them? And then to keep it bright, we'll talk about some of the jobs that have the least amount of turnover or burnout. But number 1 and 2 on the list are doctors and nurses. This isn't just in Canada. This is around the world, or certainly North America for sure. Doctors and nurses, 1 and 2 on the professions most burned out, which means you're probably not likely to work for a long period of time, and it's often difficult to replace them. Seems to be, we're hearing a great deal, of course, throughout the pandemic of doctors and nurses burnout, and nobody wants to get in the profession. Retail and fast food workers, again, face-to-face with the public, 8.5 hours a day. Big burnout the way the world's going, everybody's complaining. Social workers, this one's really interesting because they said part of what leads to the burnout isn't necessarily that, of course, you're helping people, and there's a great deal of satisfaction and reward in that. But throughout the pandemic, it was more difficult to help. You were probably helping more people, and nobody was helping you. So dealing with other people's tragedies and problems, of course, weighs on you. And who's supporting you? And that became a problem. So that's a high burnout profession. Police officers, and you could see that one, always a high burnout profession, even more so now. Air traffic controllers. For the longest time, I remember the list being of the most stressful job, it was air traffic controllers. A, not a lot of them, and B, you literally have people's lives in your hand. High stress job. Emergency response workers, same thing throughout the pandemic with all the PPVs that you would need and more calls going out. Heavy stressful job. It's shift work. Lawyers, high stressful job. Teachers and certified public accountants, which I was surprised about because I thought for the most part you kind of work alone. Dealing with numbers, it's absolutes. 2 and 2 equals 4. But they say, well, the people that you are dealing with are major corporations. So there's a lot of stress with that. And it's really hit and miss. Yeah, they've got quiet time, but during tax season, it's 24/7, all hands on deck. brings its own kind of stress. So those are the top 10 most stressful professions when it comes to burnout. You're likely to not want to do it for a long period of time. So you'd like to, according to 2022 speak, pivot into a profession that has less burnout, less stress. Okay? Then become a hairstylist. Most hairstylists remain hairstylists their whole career, long period of time. Start out working for somebody else, branch off onto your own. Hairstylists. Jewelers, not a lot of burnout. Stress, sure, everybody has stress, but not a lot of burnout if you're a jeweler. A biomedical engineer, because it's fascinating. Same thing with a geoscientist. Fascinating work. Tough to get burned out when you're constantly finding and working on new things and experimenting. Always something fresh to do. And finally, a dog walker. Ah, who's a good boy? Dog walker. Look at the exercise you're getting. You're hanging out with dogs. Okay, maybe a few of the owners are a little pickety and a few of the dogs are a little snippety, but dog walker, not a lot of burnout. So I hope that helps you on this Monday when you get into work. As I mentioned, Quinte Region looked fabulous this weekend. Thanks so much to everybody with Big Brothers Big Sisters who put together everything necessary for Rib Fest. Dave Allen and the Family YMCA, Volunteer and Information Quinte, getting a lot of the volunteers put together. It looked dynamite in Centennial Park. My wife and I took care of some ribs, suffice to say, okay, and some chicken. And there might have been a bit of a bloomin' onion around, but who's judging? It's so great. It was so wonderful to have down there. It's a fabulous fundraiser. And if you went and wonder when you can do it again, or if you unfortunately missed it, you won't have long to wait for the next one because another one will be here in 11 days. Coming up on next Friday, a week from this Friday, Quinte Rib Fest is back, this time at Westwicks Park in Belleville. And once again, Family YMCA with Dave Allen is going to be a big part of that. Their Life Center is going to be shoveling ground within about 6 or 8 months. And so Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Volunteer and Information Quinte, you're going to pick it up all over again and do it again. So get out there, purchase the ribs, and help with the community. That's going on. A lot of great things happening. This weekend coming up is the Sterling Fair. That's always another, much like Campbellford was this past weekend, another ring of the bell that there's only so much time left in the summer to get out there and enjoy everything that the Quinte region has to offer, whether you live in our area or whether you're only here for weekends or vacations. A great online resource for you to keep up to date on all that's going on in the Quinte region in Quinte.ca. In Quinte.ca. You can stay up to date on all that's going on and make sure that you're back here to enjoy it, okay? Coming up tomorrow, with all of this crazy heat, is there any way, Mark, I can hear you, is there any way that I can stay cooler and yet be eco-friendly? Oh, my friend, there is. From the type of clothes you wear, to putting ice in front of fans, to changing your workout routine based on the time of day. We're going to highlight some of that coming up tomorrow. Also, don't forget, every time you hear Harry Styles this week, make sure you head to our website, 955hitsfm.ca, fill out the ballot, because we've got tickets for his Love on Tour stop in Toronto 1 week tonight. We're going to hand out those tickets on Friday. We're going to pay tribute to Harry Styles tomorrow on Galaxy of Games. Later's entertainment news with The Pulse, and Jimmy Hollywood will highlight some movies from a couple of years ago on his Take Home Tuesday feature. That for Team Guernsey tomorrow morning at 7:50. Bit of an afternoon thunderstorm today, and maybe one of those fabulous August thunderstorm nights, which is great ahead of the Perseid meteor shower this week. Keep your eye on the sky for that. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. It's the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. Here, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, from YouTube and Spotify to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We've got them up. Charity's off this week and next week, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.